I feel like I should have like a gothy voice,
Welcome. Welcome to the Hula Hideaway.
Welcome to the Tiki Goth Club. I feel like Heather, do you have a cape I can wear or something like that? It's funny. What I realize is, I think if I do anything, I'm going to end up looking like the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins.
You don't want that.
No. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Tiki Goth Club. This is my host, Jamie.
Hello.
And the thing I realize when it comes to Tiki is that there's a lot of things that play well with Tiki. And there's a lot of common interests that a lot of people that I know that are into Tiki, they happen to be into this, they happen to be into that. Like one thing is they're into like mid-century modern, or they're into punk rock, or they're into rockabilly. But one thing I'm starting to see is there's a lot of people that are into Tiki that are they're into goth. And you were definitely into that. And I am, and I remember in the early 90s, that's what I was into. I used to go dancing, if you can believe that. And, the crazy thing is do you see how my nose is crooked?
Was that a dance injury?
It was. I was dancing to 1,000 Homo DJs. Super not. And you know how it was back in the day. Back then, you did this kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of stooped down low. And as I was dancing, just by accident, someone's fist came up and punched me right in the face. And it broke my nose. I mean, I didn't realize it. So I was dancing to essentially ministry. Well, it was 1,000 Homo DJs. But yeah, that's the reason why my nose is broken.
All right.
Why do you think there is that connection, Jamie, with Tiki and goth?
Honestly, I think a lot of it is the that sort of connection between other subcultures and Tiki, like you were saying. There's a lot of punk, a lot of rockabilly, just a lot of those other sort of fringe alternative subcultures that are mixed in with Tiki. So I think part of it is that. But I think we can actually take it way further back with a lot of the imagery. With horror movies. Think of 50s horror movies.
Yes.
So you have Creature from the Black Lagoon.
My favorite. My favorite out of all of them.
Yeah, and I think that's he's perfect goth Tiki icon.
And it's hard for me to say that because I'm so used to saying the Cramp song. The Creature from the Black Leather Lagoon. Oh, yeah, I really love that movie, The Creature from the Black Leather Lagoon.
That's a whole different thing.
Yes, and actually that will be a topic.
Yes, it will.
the Cramps. I mean, that's
obviously.
going to be its whole other. I mean, they're your favorite band. But
Indeed.
This episode here is more of an intro to what we're going to do and to kind of give a reasons of why this all works. But you were saying the imagery.
Yeah, so you have movies, so Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah. There's also a lot of the 50s matinee movies. There are all kinds of sea creatures that would attack people on the beach, and so you kind of have that, But also go way back to the early days of when tiki bars were first becoming tiki bars.
Yes.
There was because they were taking these exotic things from exotic lands and this amalgamation that became Tiki. Yeah. But you have a lot of that headhunter thing. So there's skulls and, bones and all these dark imagery that you also get in goth. And dark rooms, So you have a dark room full of skulls. That could be Tiki or that could be goth, depending on what other things are around it. But why not have them together?
That is so true. I remember there was always goth clubs. And that's what they were. They were goth clubs. Mm-hmm. A lot of times they were in the basement of a building.
Or they'd be part of it adjacent to another club.
Yes.
You'd go to a club and then you'd go the club that I grew up going to. You'd go to the club which was our gay club.
Yeah.
But then if you went up this little bit of stairs and opened this black door and then that was the goth part of the club.
Yeah, and I made a point where right now we're in my friend Don and Heather Waters' home, and they happen to have 3 tiki bars. And we're in essentially the tiki bar that's in their basement, which is the Hula Hideaway. And thanks, Heather, for having us.
Thanks, Heather.
You're welcome.
And this bar here kind of has that underground feel, that secret society kind of thing, the people that are in the know Hey gang, we'll get back to the Tiki conversation here in just a second, but I want to let y'all know they have t-shirts for sale. They are screen printed in America. The artist is Tony Canepa, and they're going for $20 a piece, $25 including shipping. If you're interested in buying one, go to my website, tikiwithray.com, and then there's a tab that says buy a t-shirt. Click on there and just follow the prompts. So thank you very much. And let's get back to the Tiki conversation now. I never thought about that. You brought up a really good point. Some of the imagery does fit over.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
I was blown away by, I'm sure you've heard of Boyd Rice. Mm-hmm. And he's like this like industrial noise musician, you know. And it blew my mind that I realized like this guy was like totally into Tiki.
Yes.
to the point where like he had his own Tiki bar in like Denver, Colorado. I think it was Tiki Boyd's.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. It blew my mind. Like what? It doesn't make any sense. But when you start kind of dissecting it, it kind of does make sense.
Yeah, and I think that's finding those like connections. It's the good. Like I think that a lot of times people. Like you and I have had this conversation before, when people pigeonhole things just a little bit too much, and they're like, "Well, this isn't part of it, and that's not part of it." It's like, but it really can. Like none of us have one interest in our lives.
No,
We'd be
exactly.
really freaking boring people if we did. And so why can't our interests, have these like overlaps that might at first you'd be like, "What?" But it works.
Yeah, I have.
Why not?
Like I have a series in my blog. It's called My Tiki Origins. And the whole idea is like all these different things that weren't necessarily Tiki, but kind of gave me that interest in Tiki when I got into it. Mm-hmm. And like one of those things was the Cramps. It's like they're not Tiki, but they definitely created this world that was adjacent to it, and that's it.
Because a lot of their music is like surf music, so surf music comes from the beach, and a lot of Tiki things are also beachy.
Well, it's funny when you're talking about the creature from the Black
Leather Lagoon.
Well, I remember like as a kid like seeing that movie, but then there was also the other famous monsters of Filmland movies. Mm-hmm. The Werewolf, The Mummy, Frankenstein, but Dracula. I mean, so it isn't like I just like the creature from the Black Lagoon. I like them all, of course.
Yeah.
So there's actually a woman down in California. Her name's Sarah, and she has a company called Sweet Siren Designs. And she is completely putting all these things together.
Mm-hmm. There's several companies right now that are doing that too. I actually just got a T-shirt from Mischief Made.
Yeah.
And they also put a lot of that. There's like the old like movie monsters, but in like tiki or beachy kind of scenes.
Yeah. You created a Facebook group.
I did.
So do you want to talk about that?
The Facebook group is called Goth Tiki.
Goth Tiki.
And basically that came from wanting somebody to start a Goth Tiki group and after waiting for several years for somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
My boyfriend and I were talking about it, and it was like, well, let's just make it. Like if us sitting around waiting for somebody else to do it isn't working, let's just do it. So just started it basically as certainly not a page to define what it is to be into goth and tiki at the same time. It is really like to celebrate it and to have people. I want to see people sharing like their version of goth tiki. How are they mixing these things together, or what do they see? The group's been live for a couple weeks now, 2-3 weeks, something like that. Already I've learned about cool things I didn't know existed before. I love it.
No, and the thing is like once I saw your Facebook group page, it kind of sparked an interest in me. I'm like, oh, that'd make a great series. And I'm really excited to start this because I definitely think there's a lot of rabbit holes we can go down.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And everyone out there, if you're watching this show, if you do have any ideas or topics that you'd like us to talk about, put it in the comment section below, because we will explore those.
We will.
And we definitely plan on having guests, and we're going to talk about music, fashion, culture, everything.
Yeah, art. I mean, there are several artists that are doing some really fantastic blends of, a lot of like the, horror movies and tiki. Nosferatu drinking a pineapple. That's one of my favorite Devin Devereaux paintings. It's just like, because it cracks me up because, we
got to get Devin on.
You're a vampire. You go on vacation still, right?
Yeah, we definitely got to get Devin on this show.
Heck yeah.
So thank you all for watching this, and there will be more episodes soon.
And if you're interested in Goth Tiki, feel free to join the Facebook group. We also have an Instagram, also called Goth Tiki. It's very simple to remember. So, yeah, follow us on both.
Yeah, please join our Goth Tiki Club. I like that this is black.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it kind of, since it's
goth.
Yeah.
You notice how I wore my darkest tiki dress?
Yeah, that's probably the happiest clothing I think I've ever seen you wear.